Mayor.
Councilman Nowakowski has seconded the motion. Councilman Williams.
I want to make a substitute motion that we change the practice of having a spoken prayer before the council meeting to a moment of silent prayer and reflection so individuals can each pray in accordance to their respective faiths and beliefs and for it to be effective immediately.
All right, so the substitute motion has been to have a moment of silent prayer or reflection. Do we have a second on the substitute motion?
Second.
We have a second on the substitute motion. So the motion on the floor right now is to have at the beginning of our council meetings, instead of a traditional invocation, is to move to a moment of silent prayer and reflection. So that is a motion on the table. As you provide testimony on this item, now obviously you may support the original motion, not the substitute motion. You obviously make clear you can testify, and either one is perfectly fine. Out of respect from our colleagues representing the members of the state legislature, I think we had 3 of them here, and we wanted to give them the opportunity to speak first because they have important business back before the legislature. We would never ever ask for a quid pro quo, but please consider this when you vote on state share revenue related items. No.
If the ordinance passes.
So I think Representative Kern, are you be first? And then Representative Townsend, and then Representative Fincham, is that correct? Any order you guys want to go in, it's up to you. And thank you for your patience. We have a long council meeting, hopefully a newfound respect for what we deal with here as leaders of cities. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have a profound respect for what you and all members do on the City Council. And if the ordinance passes, the emergency clause, I'll take your recommendation into consideration when we do pass the budget. So
Mayor,
appreciate it.
may we let the representatives know that the motion is for basically the banning of prayer. That's what the motion is.
Okay, as it stands. So
that's what we're voting on right now.
Okay, so you will be voting on the moment of silence,
Right,
abandoning
that's
prayer.
what this is.
That will be that's a substitute motion, and then if that passes, that will become the practice of this council. If not, that fails, then we'll go back to the original motion, which is what Councilman Waring suggested.
Okay, so can I speak on, well, I'll speak to either one. Thank you. My name is Representative Anthony Kern. I represent District 20, which encompasses a lot of North Phoenix and a couple of the districts here. I have a letter from my office at the Arizona House of Representatives that is signed by 24 other members, including the Speaker of the House. And it is specifically pointing out the hard work that Mr. Sal DeCiccio, Honorable Sal DeCiccio, Honorable Bill Gates, Honorable Jim Waring, and Honorable Michael Nowakowski has done from what I've read in drafting some of this language on the emergency clause. And so myself and 24 other members of the Arizona State House of Representatives, I want to read this letter to you. It is an open letter concerning council meeting invocations. It says, and I would like to put this in record when I'm done, but it says, we, the undersigned members of the Arizona State Legislature, express our personal support of Phoenix City Council members Sal DeCiccio, Bill Gates, Jim Waring, and Michael Nowakowski as they work to restore dignity, common sense, and decorum to the invocation at the City of Phoenix Council meetings. We laud their efforts as they stand for the values that help found our state and our nation. And I just want to add to that, in my personal opinion, as a citizen of this state, this will, if we do the moment of silence, it's, in my opinion, going to spread to other cities because I think their goal is to silence prayer as opposed to doing invocations. So I would ask that, the amendment to do the moment of silence be voted against, and I would ask that this emergency clause ordinance be adopted. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Please let it come down. It's up to you. Representative Townsend, you want to go next? And then Representative Fincham, good to see you.
Fincham or Townsend?
Either one, you guys decide.
Okay. Thank you. For the record, Representative Townsend, District 16. And thank you, Mayor and council members, for allowing us to come here and speak our minds. I wanted to talk specifically about the moment of silence and compare what you guys are doing here to what we do down at the legislature. And first of all, I want to say it's kind of ironic that we call it a moment of silence. Interesting. because that's exactly what people are trying to do, is to silence those who want to give an invocation. As a healthcare professional, there's mental health, there's physical health, there's emotional health, and there's also spiritual health. And I think it's important for us to remember that the body of the city of Phoenix as a whole has a spiritual health that needs to be attended to, and it ought to be represented here at the council. So I would like to propose to you an alternative to silencing people, and consider what we do at the legislature. And it's very similar to it looks like item 2, in that we take a rotational basis. The actual legislators themselves have opportunity to give the invocation. And they also have the opportunity to choose what type of invocation they want to give. And we've had Christian prayers, we've had Jewish prayers, we've had Native American prayers, and we've had atheist prayers. And there was never a riot in the State House over what prayer was given. Everyone is respectful of each other. Everyone comes up and thanks the other person when they give the prayer. So it can be done. It can be civil. And it can be done without silencing our people. So I would like to present that to you. I also would like to just off to the side mention that when I found out about the issue, my reaction was, I didn't come here to tell you you can't have that prayer. I didn't want to come to make your decision for you. But I myself felt the need to host a prayer outside as simultaneously. If you move forward with this and you allow this prayer, it's just a time for us to come together. And on that page, on the Facebook page, I have received notes from the folks themselves saying specifically their goal is to silence any kind of prayer whatsoever. So we are all here. This is this issue is very emotional, and you're going to have some people say some unsavory things to you. And I would just ask you to put that shield up and don't get defensive and make your vote based off of that defense. Know that everyone's passionate, but we all still should have a voice. And please remember the spiritual health of the people and of the city. And with that, I thank you.
Thank you, Representative Townsend. Representative Finch, would you give a comment, please? Thank you for coming down.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Mr. DeCiccio, I just really appreciate the work you're doing. And Mr. Malakowski, Mr. Yates, I just met you, all right, maybe a couple of hours ago. It seemed like a few minutes. There's two things that I want to say. One, we take a pledge of allegiance. It's one nation under God. That's not out there by mistake. The other thing that I'd like to call our attention to is goes back to 1774, and that's the flag that flew over George Washington's camps. He directed that fly over every single battle unit, and it was an appeal to heaven. I would just like to leave that reminder with you. If you want to Google an appeal to heaven, you can see what the flag looks like, or you can stop by my office one day and you'll be able to see one yourselves. Thank you so much.
A slight delay at tonight's Pensacola City Council meeting. A leader from a satanic temple gave the invocation. Catrice Nolan was there for the meeting that quickly got out of hand.
The invocation started by David Soar, a representative of the Satanic Temple, and the crowd recited the Lord's Prayer.
Please maintain order. I appreciate that.
It got so out of control, City Council President Charles Bair put a stop to it and asked those who were disrupted to leave city chambers.
I'm not a religious person, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous. This man can show up in July in an October outfit, October 31st outfit, and act like a fool and come on, man. I agree. Okay.
We're giving a lawful order to leave, okay?
And things got worse.
It is done.
He does read the Bible, obviously, because he's got a Bible verse in his hand. And so if somebody is not representing Jesus, but representing Satan and wants to invoke curses, that's why you have such a representation of people coming based on the word of God.
But David Soar says he only wants one thing.
Is adopt some damn rules. Quit pandering for votes. Quit pushing Christian privilege, as we've seen with the Bayview Cross and so many other issues, and instead go to a moment of silence and let everybody pray or not according to their own conscience.
Now, one thing Council President Barr did say he agreed with David Soar on is to make sure that the council has guidelines moving forward with who needs to give the invocation before every city council meeting. Catrice Nolan, News 5.
The council invocation has been given by a variety of religious denominations over the years. Churches and church leaders sign up to get on the schedule to lead the prayer before each meeting.
We will now have invocation by Iris Fontana from the Satanic Temple. You may either remain standing or be seated for those who are to participate. Please control.
Hello everyone, thank you for having me. Let us stand now, unbowed and unfettered by arcane doctrines born of fearful minds in darkened times. Let us embrace the Luciferian impulse to eat of the tree of knowledge and dissipate our blissful and comforting delusions of old. Let us demand that individuals be judged for their concrete actions, not their fealty to arbitrary social norms and illusory categorizations. Let us reason our solutions with agnosticism in all things, holding fast only to that which is demonstrably true. Let us stand firm against any and all arbitrary authority that threatens the personal sovereignty of all or one. That which will not bend must break, and that which can be destroyed by truth should never be spared to mind. It is done.